Hello again. All right, we are going to start in our ventures with lesson E, and I am going to share my screen with you so that you can see that. So here we go. We have lesson E here. So this is on page 66 in your white workbook, page 66. Okay, unit 5, page 66. And if we look at the top here, this is in Chicago. This is Willis Tower, which is formerly known as the Sears Tower, if you knew it that way. And then this is a park in Chicago called Millennium Park. Let me just show you here. This is Chicago. I have visited Chicago one time, and twice. I take that back, twice. And a long time ago, when I was a young child, I went up in the Sears Tower. It was called the Sears Tower then. I have not been back since, but it used to be the United States tallest tower. I'm not sure if it still is. Anyway, and then in Chicago, here's a map of Chicago, and Chicago is known as the Windy City simply because it's right off of Lake Michigan, and the winds catch, and it is quite the breeze off the Great Lake there. So anyway, so there's a little history on Chicago if you have not been there before. So I know it's hard to have a conversation. I'm actually having a monologue. And remember when I said, when we were talking about something that is monotonous, it is a one-way. So a monologue, hope I spell it correctly here, monologue has that mono in it, which means I am literally having a conversation with myself. So anyway, you too are also going to be having a monologue at home if you are doing this by yourself. So here we go. When was your last trip? Where did you go? What did you do there? So my last trip was down to Florida over Christmas to visit my dad, which was very nice. Where did I go? I went to Florida, sorry. And what did I do there? Just visited my dad and hung out. My sister came with, and so we just got to spend time as a family, which was very nice, especially in light of all that's going on. I'm very glad that we were able to do that. So here's your monologue. What was your trip that you went on? Where did you go, and what did you do there? And keep in mind that a trip can mean a different state or a different country, or it could mean a different city, or even just in town here, just something special that you did in town that might have been different, that was fun and enjoyable for that time that you were out. So at any point here, you can pause the video and have this conversation with yourself, or because it's still good to practice that language and use your English. So even if you're kind of laughing at me because I am talking to myself, once you start talking to yourself, then you can start laughing at yourself. So go ahead and pause the video and have a conversation with yourself. Okay, so here we go. We've got a letter from Alicia. And what we are focusing on here is paying attention to how the letter is scripted or written and the words that are used. And then just to skim down through here, they are focusing on using the words for your numbers rather than an actual number. So this is the word 3 for the number 3. So that is the focus of the lesson. So here we go. Dear Margarita, you can read along with me, even though I can't hear you. Dear Margarita, how are you? I just got back from a trip to Chicago. I went to visit my cousin, Isaac. Isaac lives in a suburb about 1 hour from Chicago called Aurora. I always go to visit him once a year. It usually takes 3 hours to get there from Boston by plane. This year we spent 3 days in the city of Chicago. We went sightseeing. I saw the Willis Tower, the tallest building in the United States. We also saw a concert in Millennium Park. We went shopping and I bought souvenirs. It was a fun trip. Hope you are well. Write soon. Your friend, Alicia. So in a couple weeks ago, we finished, and I will just flip back here on page 65, we had finished these, let's see here, all of these vocabulary. We had talked about this, and I remember having conversations with each other. This was right the last day before we couldn't meet anymore. So just to review, going sightseeing is simply just walking around and looking at things, the sights that are out there, okay? And buying a souvenir is a little trinket or a gift or something that you can bring back from where you were that helps remind you of your time at that place. Okay, so here we go. We have some comprehension questions here. And here is where we work on our writing. Oh, yes, okay. Answer the questions about Alicia's letter. Write complete sentences. So let's practice this together again, even though I can't hear you. Read along with me as I read the question. Where did Alicia go? The answer is right here. Alicia went to Chicago. And we can find that right up in one of the first lines. So Alicia is the one that wrote the letter. She is writing it to Margarita. And it says, I just got back from my trip to Chicago. Okay. Read number 2 with me. Who did she visit? You can pause the video and find that answer and write it down. And then when you're ready, press play again, and I will have the answer there for you. Here's your answer. Alicia visited her cousin, Isaac. If we look back, I went to visit my cousin, Isaac. Number 3, read it with me. How often does she visit him? Whoops, that was bad. Let me do that again. How often does she visit him? Okay, pause the video, look back, find the answer, and then press play again. So go ahead and pause the video. Here's your answer. She visits him once a year. She visits him once a year. Here we go. I always go to visit him once a year. Okay, and just as a reminder, at any time, if this is going too fast, as it's very difficult on my end to just like make all these dramatic pauses. So remember that at any time you can pause the video and get caught up in your writing and reading. That is exactly the purpose of doing a video, so that you have control of the learning pace. All right, number 4, let's read it together. How long does it usually take to get there? So look back, find your answer, write it down, pause the video, and then press play when you're ready. Here is your answer. It usually takes 3 hours to get there from Boston by plane. So if I look back right here, it usually takes 3 hours to get there from Boston by plane. Okay, and the last question, let's read that together. What did she do there? So go ahead and look back, find your answer, and write it down. Pause the video, and then when you're ready, hit play again. Here is your answer. They spent 3 days in Chicago. They went sightseeing and saw the Willis Tower, the tallest building in the United States. They saw a concert in Millennium Park. They also went shopping and bought souvenirs. Okay, so any of those answers are great. That is a lot to write. It is, we all have the ability to do that. And the answers basically are right here in that final paragraph. Okay, all right, nice job. Okay, so the next page, this is, if we were together, this would make a little more sense. But let's just try it and see and do the best that we can here, okay? So here, essentially what you're gonna end up doing is writing your own letter using these as your prompts here, okay? So again, a trip that you've taken, mind you, it can be in the city of Austin, it can be to a state close by, it can be a farther trip, and it could be a different country, all right? So even your trip, even now that we're all quarantined, your last trip could be to the grocery store because it was kind of exciting to get out of the house, or you were terrified. Whatever works, you know, everything, it's so crazy right now. Okay, so answer the questions about yourself. Read question 1 with me. When was your last trip? Question 2, where did you go? Question 3, how did you get there? Number 4, how often do you go there? Number 5, how long does it usually take to get there? Number 6, who did you go with? Number 7, what did you do there? So what you can do right now is you can fill out the answers to these questions. Some useful language for how did you get there? How often, how did you get there? Number 3, I apologize. Look at me looking old again. I have to look through the bottom of my glasses. Okay, how did you get there? Some useful language. By train, by plane, by bus, by car. Okay, so go ahead and fill that out. Pause the video, and when you're done writing, go ahead and play the video again. Okay, so what I would love is, because we can't really have a dialogue, which would be between 2 people, we're still having a monologue. If there is, well, you can just keep this piece for now, and in the next lesson we'll try to write an actual letter, and we'll see how that can go while we're doing this all on video, and somehow figure out a way to share it as well. So So yes. All right, so this is going to end just section E, and I'm going to do another lesson for, or another video for lesson F. All right, so I'm going to stop that share, still at school, and I'm going to stop my recording, and I will see you in a minute.